Luna stood at the edge of the fractured complex, its structure glitching like a distorted hologram caught between dimensions. The Kronos Research Lab was a ghostly echo of what it once was, a high-tech research center dedicated to pushing the boundaries of reality. Now, it was a broken relic suspended between worlds, half in and half out of existence, a splintered scar in the fabric of space-time. This wasn't just any anomaly, this was ground zero, the place where the future of every possible reality hung in the balance. The ground beneath her boots shifted with each step, as if the molecules themselves were unsure which timeline they belonged to. She'd seen dimensional rifts before, but nothing like this. Nothing this unstable. It started here, Parallax murmured, his holographic projection flickering beside her. The quantum blockchain, their magnum opus, they thought they could create a system to secure not just data, but reality itself. Luna turned to him, eyes narrowing. Secure reality? Parallax nodded grimly. A traditional blockchain, as you know, is a decentralized, immutable ledger that records transactions across multiple nodes. Each block is linked to the next using cryptographic hashes, forming a chain that prevents tampering or alteration. It's virtually unhackable. But this? He gestured to the ruins of the lab, his expression shadowed. This was meant to be more than unhackable. It was supposed to be unbreakable. The quantum blockchain was unlike anything humanity had attempted before. It wasn't just about securing transactions, it was about securing causality. Traditional blockchains, like those behind cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, were designed to create trust in a trustless environment. They used complex cryptographic algorithms to verify each transaction, solving computational puzzles that required significant energy and processing power. But these systems, as powerful as they were, could still be cracked by sheer brute force if enough computational power was amassed. Enter quantum computing. Unlike classical computers that use bits, values of 0 or 1, quantum computers use qubits. Qubits leverage the principles of quantum superposition and entanglement, allowing them to exist in multiple states at once. This means a quantum computer with a modest number of qubits can solve problems that would take a classical supercomputer centuries to crack. In the hands of the researchers at Kronos, quantum computing was more than just a tool for speed. It was a tool for certainty. They theorized that by building a quantum blockchain, one that operated on quantum states instead of classical hashes, they could create a ledger that didn't just track transactions, but bound reality to a fixed state across multiple timelines. It was a noble idea, Luna murmured, eyes drifting over the shattered equipment strewn across the ruined chamber. But it sounds impossible. Not impossible, Parallax corrected. Just extremely unstable. He raised a hand and the air shimmered. Images of qubits in superposition, entangled states, and probability clouds filled the space around them. A quantum blockchain can theoretically anchor information across multiple realities because it relies on quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where particles become linked no matter the distance between them. Change the state of one particle, and you instantaneously change the state of the other, even if they're light years apart. Luna frowned. So if a timeline diverges, the entangled qubits would still reflect the original state, Parallax finished. Theoretically, it would be impossible to alter the past or the future without disrupting the entire chain. If someone attempted to tamper with the change would create a quantum ripple, exposing the manipulation across all timelines. It was supposed to make reality itself tamper-proof. But that's not what happened, Luna said slowly. No. Parallax's voice was grim. Because they made one fatal error, they tied the quantum blockchain's encryption keys to reality-based events. Instead of abstract mathematical puzzles, they used causal anchors, actual occurrences like births, deaths, and decisions, as cryptographic keys. This was supposed to make it more secure, as these keys couldn't be replicated or predicted. But in doing so, they created a system that was intrinsically linked to the flow of time and causality. And when those causal events started to change, when a death didn't happen or a war didn't start, the entire system began rewriting itself to compensate. It was a domino effect of staggering proportions. With each change, the blockchain tried to stabilize itself by rewriting the linked events, but every alteration created new inconsistencies, which in turn required more rewrites. The result was a cascade of temporal errors, entire timelines blinking in and out of existence as the system scrambled to reconcile what was with what should be. So instead of protecting reality, it's tearing it apart, Luna said softly. Parallax nodded. And it gets worse. The more nodes it affects, the more unstable the system becomes. Right now, it's affecting over 200 primary timelines and several thousand secondary branches. If we don't shut it down, the ripple effects will spread to the entire network. Every connected reality, every possible future, gone. Luna took a deep breath, trying to process the enormity of what he was saying. And that's why I'm here, to fix this virus. It's more than a virus, Parallax said darkly. It's a cancer. A quantum metastasis that's corrupting every probability space it touches. Ahead, the chamber widened, revealing the first of the quantum blocks. It floated in midair, a sphere of shimmering energy, its surface rippling with multicolored light. Luna stepped closer, and her HUD immediately flooded with data. Wave functions, decoherence factors, probability distributions. It was a mathematical nightmare, an entangled mess of equations that defied easy comprehension. "These are the blocks?" she asked. "Each one is a record," Parallax confirmed. "A snapshot of reality stored in a quantum state, but they're glitching. Each one is trying to reflect a different version of events, creating a paradox. You need to stabilize the chain, decrypt each block, and realign its wave function with the baseline reality." "Easy, right?" Luna muttered sarcastically. She reached out, fingers hovering just inches from the block. With a deep breath, she initiated the decryption protocol. Instantly, the world around her blurred. She was inside the quantum matrix. Colors, shapes, and sounds coalesced into a surreal landscape of information. Each quantum block was a world unto itself, a tangled web of probabilities and possibilities, each one vying for dominance. Luna could see the data, strings of quantum keys, probability curves, chains of entangled states. Each block contained a fragment of reality's history, but they were shifting, unstable, like a mosaic trying to rearrange itself every few seconds. "Focus on the entropy levels," Parallax's voice echoed through the digital void. "Each block has an ideal state, an entropic minimum where the probabilities align. If you can find that point, you can stabilize it." Luna scanned the data, watching as the quantum states shifted and twisted. Traditional cryptography relied on deterministic algorithms. If you knew the key, you could unlock the data. But here, in the quantum realm, there were no certainties. Each key was a spectrum of possibilities, each bit a cloud of probabilities. Decrypting it wasn't about solving an equation. It was about finding the balance point in a swirling sea of chaos. Her fingers danced over the holographic interface, adjusting the parameters, tweaking the quantum waveforms. Slowly, the block began to settle, the shifting patterns coalescing into a single, stable form. A timeline resolved, a city standing tall against the horizon, its skyline unmarred by war or disaster. Luna exhaled sharply. One down. But as she turned to the next block, her blood froze. There, at the center of the quantum lattice, was a single glowing name, Anomaly, Luna 00001. The chain had recorded her, not just her actions here, but her existence itself. Every choice, every decision, every moment of her life, logged, indexed, and linked to the stability of the entire system. Parallax's voice was tight. "Luna, if the chain sees you as an anomaly, it's going to try to erase me," she finished, her voice barely a whisper. The realization hit her like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about stabilizing the chain. The blockchain itself was targeting her, viewing her as a temporal inconsistency that had to be corrected. For a moment, she hesitated. Fixing the chain would save the timelines, but if she did, it might erase her completely. With a deep breath, she reached for the next block, steeling herself. "I'm not going anywhere," she growled, diving into the chaos. Because some anomalies weren't meant to be erased, some were meant to rewrite the rules. Luna's fingers trembled over the flickering central node. It pulsed like a wounded heartbeat, data fracturing into countless mirrored streams. It wasn't just an ordinary collapse, it was a quantum decoherence cascade. The node's entanglement with every connected timeline was unraveling simultaneously, a catastrophic breakdown of coherence across realities. The resulting quantum noise would shatter the integrity of each timeline, turning structured worlds into chaotic voids. "The node's collapsing," she shouted, watching as each block distorted, its encoded memories dissolving into pure probability. "It's going to trigger a total wipe," Parallax called back, voice tense. "When a central node like this falls apart, it destabilizes everything connected to it. We'll lose every encrypted reality." Luna's mind raced. If the decoherence cascade reached critical mass, the entire quantum blockchain would disintegrate. She could already see the effects. Blocks flickering out, memories blinking into non-existence. But amidst the chaos, she saw something else. A unique pattern at the node's core, a lattice structure scrambling to locate a stable reference point. That was the key. "I can re-anchor the chain," she murmured, eyes narrowing. "But I'd have to bind it. To me." Parallax's expression darkened. "You'd become the living cryptographic key. The node would encode your quantum signature into its root sequence, making you the primary anchor. I'd be locked into the lattice," she finished, taking a deep breath. "A constant in every branching timeline. A living key that keeps the entire system from breaking apart." There was no other choice. She pressed her hand to the node, feeling its unstable energy ripple through her, syncing with her own quantum state. The moment her signature embedded, the effect was instantaneous. A massive recalibration swept through the blockchain. Each timeline, each fragmented reality, realigned around her presence. The entropic noise dampened, collapsing into clean, stable waves. But she felt it too. The lock snapping into place, her essence encoded into the lattice as an irremovable anchor. She wasn't just in the blockchain. She was part of it now, her identity, her existence, encoded as a stabilizing force holding every timeline together. "Luna," Parallax whispered, staring at her with a mix of awe and disbelief. "You stopped the cascade, but you're bound to the central node now." She nodded slowly, feeling the weight of it. She could sense every fragment of the blockchain, the flicker of each timeline, the hum of encrypted realities orbiting her like digital planets around a sun. She was the living cryptographic key, forever interwoven with the chain's quantum state. "Yes, I'm locked," she said quietly, a small smile tugging at her lips. "But the chain isn't broken." Parallax frowned. "You're a constant now. If you disrupt the lattice, then I'll rewrite the lock itself," she interrupted, eyes gleaming. "If I'm the key, I can define the rules of this entire system. Quantum security is all about maintaining coherence, right? But I'm the anomaly. I'm not supposed to be here." She raised her hand, watching the shimmering data respond. "And that makes me more than just an anchor. It makes me the wild card." He stared at her, realization dawning. "You're going to rewrite the lattice." She gave a faint, daring smile. "Theoretical cryptography says the strongest key is the one no one can predict. And right now, I'm the biggest anomaly this chain has ever seen." With a surge of will, she focused on the lattice, feeling the layers of data shift and bend. She was bound to the blockchain, yes, but that meant she could shape its entire structure from within, because sometimes the best way to secure a system wasn't just to stabilize it, it was to change the rules entirely. And as the node hummed softly around her, the cascade finally settling into a stable equilibrium, Luna knew one thing for certain. The system had made a grave error in trying to lock her down, because some locks weren't meant to hold the key. They were meant to be broken,